Elliot Grayson was an ordinary man living an ordinary life. He woke up every morning in his one-bedroom apartment, made coffee, brushed his teeth, and went to work. Everything was the same every single day until the day it wasn't. That morning, something was wrong. His coffee was already hot before he poured it. His toothpaste was already on his brush before he even reached for it. His phone had notifications for messages that hadn't arrived yet. Elliot frowned, staring at his toothbrush. Had he already done this? His mind felt hazy, like a dream he couldn't shake off. Maybe he was just tired. He brushed his teeth, drank his coffee, and told himself to ignore it. But then, he saw the man. Elliot first saw him at the coffee shop near his office. A man sat alone in the corner, motionless, his back to the world. Something about him felt off. Then, he stood up. His coffee cup refilled itself as he moved. The door opened before he reached it. Each step looked reversed. It wasn't that he was walking strangely. It was like he was moving backward through time itself. And then, their eyes met. Elliot felt something snap inside his brain. That night, he couldn't sleep. His dreams played in reverse. The next day, things got worse. He overheard conversations before they started. Raindrops fell upward. He blinked, and suddenly, he was walking in the opposite direction. At work, his boss asked, "Why did you send me that email before I asked you to?" Elliot's hands trembled. I didn't, but he had. The email was there sent before he had even thought to write it. By the time he got home, his heart was pounding. He felt watched. He slammed the door shut, and the backwards man was already inside. The figure moved in reverse, stepping closer with every backward motion. His mouth opened, but his words played in reverse. Emit rui ni desits evui. Elliot gasped, his vision blurred. His head throbbed. The world warped. He turned to run, but he couldn't. His legs moved backward against his will. He was being rewound. Panic surged through him. He flailed, struggling to stop, but his body wasn't his anymore. His mind screamed as memories flooded back. He remembered waking up tomorrow before today even happened. He remembered the backwards man appearing every time he tried to notice. He remembered this wasn't the first time. His breath hitched. He had lived this before. Hundreds, maybe thousands of times. Each time, he reached this point. Each time, he noticed too much. And each time, the backwards man found him. Elliot fell to his knees. Was this a dream? A loop? A punishment? The backwards man leaned in close, whispering, "Welcome back. You were never supposed to see." Elliot screamed, and reality shattered. Elliot sat up in bed. His heart pounded. He was soaked in sweat. His coffee was already poured. His toothpaste was already on his brush. His phone already had unread notifications. The loop had reset. He slowly turned to the mirror. His reflection wasn't moving the same way he was. The end?